We are going live on YouTube. Hey everybody, how you doing YouTube? Let me go live on Facebook and let me go live on Instagram, one after the other so that we're not lagging. Everybody has a chance to get in on the fun this evening. I'm going to share this in a couple different groups. Hello Instagram, hello Facebook, hello YouTube. All right, everybody's on board this evening. Wonderful to have you. For those of you on Instagram, to know what we're talking about, self-doubt will kill your business. Here's how to knock it out like Tyson would. You ready? Here's how to knock it out like Tyson would. But before we begin, let me tell you a story about a man named Jed. I'm just kidding. Tell you a story here about my self-doubt and how I overcame my self-doubt. Hey, Chris, how you doing, brother? Good to have you, man. So when I was growing up through the ranks of life after the military, you think you're after you get out of the military, you think you're limitless. No one can touch you. You know all the tricks and tips and tricks. But what happens is you don't, because you were a soldier and now you're a civilian. Hey, Karen. All right, Jaeger. All right, Chrissy. All right, Zach. The world is here. Thank you, Chris. And so I was, got out of the Army, big cocky, doofus-looking kind of guy. And I'm sharing this into the other group. Sorry about that. So. Big doofus, cocky-looking kind of guy, and I'm like, I can do anything I want. I can do anything I want, right? And then you stand there, and there's people that are younger than you, but I was in the military for 8 years. They have 8 years of life experience. Me too, brother. I'm glad you're here, brother. Hey, Ryan. So you get out of the military, right? I'm talking about self-confidence here, right? Self-doubt. And it will kill your business. So you're standing there like, I'm going to do this. And you go and you start doing it. Then you meet other people that are doing the same thing, but they have a college degree. They have 7 years of experience or 8 years of experience where you have just a military time. So you're basically like a 19-year-old again getting out of the military. And that's when it comes. First of all, the imposter syndrome, right? I think, what do I do? Do I belong here? But then the self-doubt comes. And I promise you, every single client that I have has somewhere, somehow a small piece of self-doubt when it comes to breaking into new arenas, when it comes into breaking into new, hey, David, how you doing? All right. Kevin, all right. Kevin McCord, ladies and gentlemen. So Kevin Lee, all right. Everyone has that sort of, fear. Everyone has that sort of problem. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Guido Christopher Surefish. Yes, self-doubt. You don't even act like you don't have it. Look at that, huh? That's a German for you right there. Oh, my goodness. Yeshua Adonai, my friend from San Francisco. How are you doing, my good friend? Yeshua Adonai is an ex-Marine, really good friend, met in Berlin. Spent a lot of time together, changed each other's lives. So we're talking about self-doubt. So when I got out of the military, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and that. Then I met other people doing this, and that, and I was an idiot compared to them in my own eyes because they had college degree, they had everything. So what do you do when that happens? You say, I'm going to get what they get, right? So you go on that journey that you take when you're young and dumb, and you start doing things that other people do to fulfill what society says that you're supposed to fulfill, right? So I went and started studying, and then I went and I started. And I started to sort of look and model other people how I was supposed to be. So I got the big car, I got the big job. I went and got my MBA, spent a lot of stupid money on that, with big waste of money. And I was sitting there fat, not over fat, but fat enough, in debt, not happy, saying, okay, this is exactly where society says I'm supposed to be, right? And I felt pretty good, like, I'm here where society says I'm supposed to be. And then they said, okay, you're going to America. You're going to America to represent our company at a NASDAQ listed company. Hey, Mohammed. So I go to America, and literally I'm sitting in an office by myself with a marble bathroom in my office and a secretary out front, CEO to the left, director of operations all the way through, So, and I had massive case of imposter syndrome. Holy shit, what am I doing here? I'm fresh. What am I doing here? Why am I in this office? And why am I like one of these directors all of a sudden? And I had this massive fear of being found out that I was not that person that they thought I was, that they hired. And then I ran into this guy, and this guy was from Amsterdam, happened to be, and he was working in Chicago where I was at the time. And he was just this little Dutch guy, and he was in this big, shark tank of corporate individuals in Chicago, and he was killing it. I was like, dude, you're like this big compared to these guys. How did you do it? And he goes, you know what? The first thing you got to realize about yourself, and this is what I've honed over the years. The first thing you got to realize about yourself is that if you have integrity, which I do, and I like to think we all do. When you get into a situation where you don't know what to do, you'll never lie and try to weasel your way through it. You'll simply find a way to answer the question in the terms that the situation requires. And then if you're good, you search for the information and come back later with more solutions. So you're never really not knowing. You're just in a state of a state of loss of information. So you don't have the information in front of you. It doesn't mean you have to know everything on the planet. So that was the first thing. I'm like, yeah, true. If I don't know something, big deal. I don't know something. I don't have to say I don't know it or lie. I just say, okay, I'll get back to you with that. I want to gather more information, be more specific, and I'll get back to you with that. And these are the kind of things that I started doing. And then I realized, though, it's like I have Enrique, when I was thinking about starting my first business, I was tortured by self-doubt. I had the initial idea and sat on it for months, researching, thinking, debating, all the while I was doing everything but get extreme my self-doubt, fear of failure kept me from everything, even starting on my idea. And then one day, bam, stop thinking and start strategically doing. Exactly, and that's the whole point. Just get started. Don't even worry about it. Don't think about fear. Don't think about self-doubt. Don't think about the imposter syndrome. You just go, no matter what, and you make it happen. One step at a time. Go, go, go. Now, you got to have visions. You got to have plans. What's up, buddy? What are you doing down here? You're supposed to be in bed, boo-boo. My boy. This is my boy. Where you going, man? Huh? Maximilianos? All right, good night, buddy. Love you, man. So, yeah, my boy Max, the hurricane. All right, we got little Marion joined. We got Vet Biz Builder. All right, how's it going, boy? All right, man. So, what do you do? What do you do? So, I was talking to a person tonight who's not a client, just someone who called me and said, "Hey, can you help me out? I want to talk to you for a second." And he said, "I want to, I have people asking me for advice." What's up? Well, I have people asking me for advice, but I know how to do my business and I know how to give them advice, but how do I charge them? Like, I can't charge them. This is what I'm doing anyway, right? Like, I can't charge these people, and I need to know a lot more about consulting, because I said, "Did you help him?" And he said, "Yeah, well, yeah, I sat down with him for half an hour, showed him exactly how to do the P&L, the books and everything else, and and I said, "Was he happy?" He said, "Yeah, it was super, because I found some money that he could save." And I said, "Well, were you happy?" He goes, "Yeah, but if I want to do it as a job, I need to learn how to be a consultant." I was like, "You were. That's what you just did. You were just a consultant. That's exactly what you did. You looked at the guy. You showed up for the guy. You showed up with no expectations of what he wanted, listened and heard what he wanted, and then you looked for a solution, and you worked it out together." That's what a consultant does. There's no book, qualification, certification that you must have to be a consultant. What helps is experience in the area that you're consulting in, which I would highly suggest, because online consultants who teach consultants how to sell consulting to consultants is not a very sought after career. Okay, that can be good money, but there's nothing behind it. It's a house of cards. All right. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, what if somebody asks me a question and I don't know how to answer? What if I'm helping somebody and I'm consulting somebody and they're asking me, I don't know what to say? Well, would you ever do that in any other situation? No, then why would you do it in that situation? It doesn't make any sense. And you know what that is? That's your head, imposter syndrome, and fear. That's all it is. Well, let me tell you something about fear. Fear is the door to greatness. Fear is the door to greatness. I just realized I have no microphone. I hope you guys hear me okay. Fear is the door to greatness. Think about that for a second. Rip that door open and you go in. And you go in full on, fire for effect. You go in there and you make it happen. I look at fear literally like a door. That's how I look at fear. Hey, Heather, how you doing? All right. Fear is the door to greatness, indeed. So, and I also look at it like the basement. You know how when you were a kid, you go in the basement, you're like, oh my God, it's dark. You couldn't find the light and you're like panicking and stuff. And you turn on the light and you're like, oh, nothing. It's a basement. Well, that's how I see fear. You just need to switch on the light, right? Just flip that switch, flip it. And fear is funny because it's a very thin line. Once you cross over that thin line, fear was never even thought about. It's like if you were airborne, jumping out of the airplane, first time with a mother. Consultant training consultants on consulting, say it 5 times fast. No, you missed one. Consultants training consultants on selling consultant to consultants. You know what I'm talking about, right? Online consultants teaching consultants how to sell consulting to consultants to consult. How's that? Yeah. So these are the things that I think about. So when my clients or my friends or people that I work with or anybody just in general who asks me questions, believe me, I do about 200 phone calls a week or video calls a week. This would come up about 85%, 90% of the time. And I just got to say this. if you have integrity and you work according to HIT, honesty, integrity, transparency, meaning you're honest to yourself about why you're doing what you're doing, and you're transparent about the decisions you make and who it affects, and you look at this as a piece of your life every single day going forward, the byproduct is integrity. So you're good. If you can do that, you're good. Now, if someone asks you a question, you would not lie to try to look good, would you? Because you know that someone who knows what they're talking about and asks you a question and you give them bullshit, they're going to call you out. So don't worry about it, because your integrity will keep you from doing things that are dishonest and make you look bad. So again, if you are worried about not fitting into the mold of what someone thinks you should fit into, forget about it. Forget about it, because your integrity is going to keep you there. And if at least you don't succeed, then you simply say, I'll get back to you with that. Hey, Oded, how you doing, brother? Israel, shalom. So, Guido, when you doubt your power, you give power to your doubt. Good stuff as well. Thank you, Heather. And these are the things that I think through, that I talk about, that I feel, that I see, that I, there's everyone knows. Everyone knows the Entrepreneur on Fire episode that I did. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. And I talked about this. I talked about imposter syndrome. Let me see if I can find that for you here. See exactly what I said, so you guys can have it. Yeah. Let me see. EOF podcast. There it is. So this is what I said in the podcast, and this podcast landed me 2 clients worth, I don't know, $50K or something like that. So we talked about. So before I even get into what HIT is, right, honesty, transparency, and why it's important, let's talk about one thing that every single one of your listeners and either struggles with or has struggled with in the past: imposter syndrome. The idea that you're a fraud and that somehow everyone's going to find out, like everyone else has it all figured out, and it's a matter of minutes or seconds before it all falls apart, right? Isn't that what it feels like? Is that what it feels like? For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, the inside comes out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like a complete destruction. And that was said by Cynthia Ocelli. These are the kind of things that I get into my head so that I not only can be stronger and be more powerful, but that I can teach others how to be stronger and be more powerful. Thank you for joining. Yeah. Hey, Marissa, how you doing? Awesome to see you. Rebecca, all right. Wow, that's a long one. Rebecca Dizi, thank you for joining. Stephen May, all right, brother, how you doing? Stephen is commenting though. That's not me. That's one of my admins commenting in my name. So she feels this way. Don't feel this way. There's nothing that you can't do. I promise you, as a human being, you right there watching me, you right there watching me, and you right there on YouTube watching me, there's nothing you can't do. I promise you that. I promise you that. And I'm not talking about you can tightrope on a toothpick across the Niagara Falls. I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about there's nothing that you can't do that you see yourself doing. So that leads us to the one thing that everything leads us to: the future, right? So the future, you can only change, you can only influence, you can only affect right now. You can never do it tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes, right? So you have to do it now. So what you have to do now in order to fix your imposter syndrome, your self-doubt, or your fear in the future is you change it right now. Right now, right here, while we're talking, you simply say, no longer will I have doubt in myself, because as a human being, I fulfill the space that is given to me, because I have a brain where I use this much of it. And all I need to do is let go, relax, get out of my head, and know that the person in front of me is not expecting me to have a specific answer like I think they are. All I need to do is make them feel comfortable, make them feel elevated, make them feel great that I'm trying to give them a solution or helping them out. And first of all, you will never compromise your integrity just to give some simple answer to make you look foolish. So don't worry about it. You're all good. Enrique, removing all expectations of getting started helped me overcome self-doubt and fear. It's amazing the brick walls create in our minds. Once I stopped placing so many outcomes and expectations, it all became easier. Exactly. Good to hear, Stephen. Exactly, Enrique. And that's the point about HIT. When you live HIT, the most free, I wish I could play it for you. I just had a client that I talked to yesterday. Actually, it's not a client, just someone who called me. Said, what is HIT and how does it work? I'm 21 years old. How do I put it into play? How does it work? And I said, honesty, integrity, transparency. Integrity is a byproduct. You can't be integrity. You have to have the byproduct of integrity. It's an effect of how you live. It's the outcome of how you are as a person, live, think, feel, teach, start, whatever. So I said, honesty to yourself about why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you doing? When you talk to somebody, are you being honest to yourself first about what you're saying to them? Or are you just saying what you think sounds good to them? And what you think sounds good to them comes because they think that you should say something specific. That's called an expectation. So easy way out. Either two ways to handle this. One, you have an expectation and you verbalize it to the person you have it from, right? Or two, you don't have any expectations. And when you have no expectations, life is glorious. Why? Because you're always happy. You're never disappointed that something didn't happen. You get it? Makes sense? Right. So the second thing is when people have expectations of you. Now, this is where it gets tough. Because, hey, Ajay, I was just talking about you, Ajay. I'm telling the story about us yesterday. Ajay's the guy who sent me the audio, awesome audio. You're going to do it. It's amazing what you said, brother. So he said to me yesterday, you're the only 51-year-old guy that I can call bro. I love it. So the second thing is this. If you're operating under HIT and you're honest and you're transparent, your integrity is in the forefront. This means that everything that you do is of a moral basis. And every relationship on the planet is based on integrity. Every healthy relationship is based on integrity. So knowing that, how can you go wrong? Right? How can you go wrong? Can you? I don't think so. Matter of fact, I know so. So what happens? What happens when suddenly you're this powerhouse? When suddenly you know you can't go wrong because you're operating from integrity. What happens then? You don't need to worry about, hey, it's all right. You don't need to worry about what other people think. You don't need to worry about what other people expect of you because you give integrity, you give your full integrity to the world around you. So you don't worry about what they think. If your boss comes, you know how it is. Your boss shows up. Oh my God, what's he want to hear? What do I have to say? I remember when I was a kid, when I was younger, it's like, oh my God, the colonel's here, the boss is here. I need to do this, I need to do that. All these expectations make you look like a fool, right? Stand your moral ground. HIT, honesty, integrity, transparency. You stand that ground and you forget about the expectations, or you make them verbal, or they make them verbal. If you say, you have any expectations of me? Please tell me now so we can hash it out. And you know what? That's the freedom you're going to have. You're going to be, like Ajay said, you're going to feel like lighter, free, light on your feet. Why? Because you have no expectations of anybody. You give when you want to give. You give from the heart. You give from the soul. You give honesty, integrity, transparency. And then you do as you wish in a positive way. And here's the last part of making this all work. You are, as most of you know, the CEO of your own life enterprise. Every CEO of every enterprise answers to one group of people, and that's the shareholders, right? Or stakeholders, right? You, as your CEO in your own life enterprise, answers to your stakeholders. So either you're a provider for your family, right? Or you are an employee, or you have clients and you have to provide for them, right? So you're always in charge of your own life enterprise as a CEO. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? You deal with it in one way. And it's super simple. And you know what? It's going to make life amazing. It's going to turn you into somebody that everybody wants to talk to. You ensure one thing and one thing only. That they leave you when they meet you, whether it's the bag lady down the street, whether it's the guy at the grocery store, whether it's the BMW dealer, whether it's your mom, your wife, your kids, it doesn't matter who it is. You ensure that when they leave you, when you part ways, that they're better off than when you ran into them, when you met them. Think about that. If you ensure that every time your kids come up to you, like Max, right? Every time he comes up to you, up to me, I ensure that I'm giving him value of some way, love, value, joy, happiness, that I'm giving him something so that when he walks away, he's in a better place than when he came. How powerful is that? Imagine if your boss, your CEO, or your whoever comes to you, and whenever they have an interaction with you, that they ensure that you're in a better place before they take off. Think about that. That's incredible, isn't it? Incredible. So that all, what I just talked about, HIT, right? Investing in relational capital. I didn't name it that, but what's what we're talking about, right? belief in yourself comes through knowing that you're honest and you're transparent with everything that you do. You don't have to believe because it is situation. So if you want to change it, you got to start right now. If you want to change tomorrow, you got to do it today. If you want to change next week, you got to do it today. It's not going to come any other way. All right. And what this does, what does it do? It dictates quality of life, doesn't it? Quality of life. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, that's it for tonight. Real simple. You get out there, drop that self-doubt, know that your integrity will never leave you hanging. And that if you live according to HIT, you will never have expectations that aren't verbalized, and you will never have to dance to other people's expectations unless they're verbalized and you agree. And then leaving everyone in your life enterprise in a better place when they leave you is when you met them. Sound good? Live that life. I'm telling you, it's magic. Magic. Okay, everybody, have a fantastic one. Thank you so much for joining in. Remember, it's all about quality of life. See y'all next time. I have to end all this stuff all at the same time. It's sort of difficult, but thank you all for coming. Very, very, very nice of you. Very, very nice of you. Wow, yes.